I've helped thousands of photographers transform their ordinary images into fantastic fine art pieces. Here are some of those fine art photography techniques they use. So what is fine art photography? Well, it could really be almost anything you want. I think it's paying an attention to detail, paying attention to shapes, trying to elevate your images beyond just the quick point and shoot. If you want to learn some more about that, take a look at this video over here. If you're interested in doing fine art photography, there's lots of different types of fine art, of things that could be considered fine art. Is it street photography? Are you like really interested in the work of Francois Bresson? Greg Hatton is a client of ours who does fabulous street photography, and I really love looking at his images and thinking, how can I do that? Why don't my shots come out looking like that? Identify the artists that you enjoy. Try to break down what it is about it that you like. Is it the lines and the shapes that they're able to create? Is it like bright poppy color? Do you like landscape photography? Do you like people who are trekking out into the outback and doing long exposures on a tripod of burbling brooks and the leaves changing color? What do you like? What is it that you want to shoot? Sometimes maybe even get a sketchbook, a blank paper sketchbook, and just write out ideas if you're verbally oriented, or just sketch out ideas. They don't even need to be good. They don't need to be beautiful. It's just to sort of like work out your ideas. What do I like? What do I don't like? Some equipment considerations. If you are planning on going out into the wild, shall we say, either in an urban setting or in landscape, some things that you might want to think about are, how heavy is your camera? Do you think you need to take a tripod? If you're like trying to do long exposures, like you want to blur the water or you want to blur people going by, you're going to need a tripod and you're going to need a cable release. So there's pieces of equipment to think of. Are you working in a studio, or are you using your living room as your studio, or your dining room, or your spare bedroom? What's the lighting like in there? Do you need to have some more equipment, some lights, again, the tripod, again, a cable release, or are you planning on hand holding? Other pieces of equipment that you might want to think of, especially if you're out doing street photography or landscape photography, is filters. There's a variety of filters that can either change the color, or, especially if you're shooting out in a bright sunny day, can cut down the amount of sun so that you can take a longer exposure. Those are called ND filters. And they come in very thick ones that you could use to watch an eclipse, or to very faint ones, or even split filters, where this is great for ocean photography. Say you've got this beautiful beach scene, but the sky is really, really bright and you want to get detail in the beach, in the foreground. And so there would be a graduated filter from top to bottom, ending about the middle of the lens, so that you can take a longer exposure, pick up some detail in your foreground, and then, but not really blow out your sky and still get detail. It's great if there's clouds too. Or if you like shooting black and white, there's red filters that you can put on, and that'll give you like really bright, fluffy clouds, if there's clouds in the sky, of course. But then take the blue of the sky to black. Post-processing is referring to any changes that you're going to make to the image as you shot it. When you're shooting, especially if you're shooting digital, you should be shooting in RAW format. Usually it'll give you the option of RAW, and it's usually capitalized RAW, and large JPEG, medium JPEG, small JPEG. The RAW is sort of like your digital negative. It's capturing all the information that camera sensor can capture. Whether it's a dark shadow or a highlight, it's going to give you the most amount of information. And when you shoot in RAW, that lets you then take something into Photoshop or Lightroom and then begin to move things around. How dark do you want those shadows to be? Or is there detail in the shadows that you need to preserve? How bright do you want your brightest point to be? Can you bring that down so that it's not just glaringly white and stealing all the attention in your photograph. Sometimes you'll take a picture and it usually might be something where you have like a very bright area and a very dark area right next to it, and it'll appear as like a little green line or a little purplish line, sometimes both, on one on each side of it. That's called chromatic aberration. And from what I understand, that is from the internal workings of the camera not being able to, either not being able to handle that high contrast, or it's not absolutely correctly aligned so that you're getting a little bit of shift. If you remember like old comic books, sometimes when they were printing them, they're laying down one color, and then when they lay down the second color, it's not quite registering together. So you get a little thing of color that didn't quite match. That's the same thing that chromatic aberration is. Sometimes you can see it, especially in sometimes plastic lenses or less expensive cameras. Photoshop actually has some tools that you can use to go in, and it will identify those green or those magenta and then compensate for it. Black and white photography obviously is classic. It really can elevate your image. Some images that may just look, in color, you convert them to black and white, maybe increase the contrast a little, and suddenly, pow, you've got something that's really worth looking at and that you want to look at again and again. We have professionals here at the Icon that this is what they do all day. This is what they do every day. They know the ins and outs of their machines, of the inks, what is going to come out best on what type of paper, depending on what you're looking for. In the fine art printing department that I do, I work with the clients. We come in, we look at the images on the computer screen, try to identify any problems before we actually commit ink to paper. How bright is something supposed to be like this? How dark is something supposed to be here? Does it have a color tone? If so, what color is that? Is it supposed to be red, or is it supposed to be more yellow? Then we make a test print. This is an example. This is an image by Stephen Goldman of a shot that he did back in the 70s of a Nepalese girl. This is a test print, and I've marked it up. Please disregard that. But I have the whole image so that we could check all four corners. And then I have a 2-inch strip of something in the image that's supposed to be the sharpest. Usually it'll be somebody's face or their eyes, or if there isn't a person in the shot, what is most in sharp. And I have a 2-inch strip of that at its final print size, just a section of it, so that we can go in and we can check and see how sharp is it really. Do we need to do more sharpening? Or how grainy is it? Or is the grain holding up? Do we need to maybe add more grain to cover up some artifacting from going large? So once we make this test print, what you can see is then, I come in, the client comes in, we talk about it, we look at it, we say, okay, how good does it look? Do we like the paper surface? For instance, this was the test print for the file. We worked together. This was his original that he's trying to match. And you can see there's a little bit of difference in there. This is a little bit more contrasty. This has a different vibe, perhaps. This is maybe a little bit too much open. This helps also clarify your thoughts on what you're trying to achieve with your image. And that can be achieved through the fine art print, which comes with the test print, which comes with 15 minutes worth of work on your file, and then your final prints. Getting your files ready to print. Most printers, and here at the Icon we use this as well, you want to have a resolution or a DPI or PPI, people use those sometimes interchangeably, of 300. I love looking at people's work, and I love looking at people's work with them, just to throw it up on the screen on a calibrated monitor, take a look at it, zoom into it close, look at all the details, see if there's any problems that we might need to address, and also talk about, well, what are you thinking about this? And I love giving my thoughts on it. It's like, oh, what if we increase the contrast here? What if we took this down here? What if we like recropped it to sort of clarify the intent of the image? What is the story that the image is telling? What's the important things in it? You know, I do this all day. I do it every day. I'm looking at hundreds of images. I see what people are doing, and I've really had a chance to clarify in my own mind how to make images better and really make them pop and stand out.